It's not very good.
I would definitely put it in the top 10.
So good.
It's kind of a mess.
A great work of cinema.
Train wreck.
Beyond a slasher, beyond a jump scare.
More thought has gone into the story.
Respecting the source material.
Extremely gory, extremely violent.
The lighting, the sets, the costuming.
Extremely scary.
Well staged, well shot, well acted.
I saw the comedy for what it is.
Relentless.
It was just really, really good.
This is pretty cool.
Another reason why I think it's
So good.
Silent Breed is people!
Hello, hello, hello out there in YouTube and podcast land. You have reached Johnny Has the Keys, where we talk about horror movies and science fiction films and those key elements that lift and or separate them from the average genre fare. Are you new to us? Well, we would like to welcome you. David and I have been talking about horror movies and their influences and inspirations since I can't even remember. And we have always noticed the little things that may have inspired a future movie down the road, or things that may have been influenced from a prior movie years ago. And that's what this podcast is about. We are unscripted, so we may tend to blather on about something that has absolutely nothing to do with what we originally intended to talk about. And that's why you're back, because you like hearing us blather on about our insane knowledge of film history, I guess you would say. And for those of you new, we're glad you're here. For those of you that came back, you know why. And I am here with my co-host and old friend, David Horton. David, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. We normally break the ice, of course, as is our modus operandi, and talk about something we've done genre related this week in our specific genres, mine being sci-fi, yours horror. And I did one that's a direct corollary to the topic of the week, and I don't want to give the topic away, but then again, if you're listening or watching, you already know what the topic is because it's in the title, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, after watching and researching our project for the week, I decided to go back with a little palate cleanser and watched a movie 2 years prior to it that has a lot of key references that I'm sure we'll bring up when we bring up keys, but I went back and watched Independence Day, my bubblegum movie of all time, probably. I've watched it several times. I've watched it over and over. I think it works in a lot of ways. It's nothing new to people. Again, it's from 1996, so quite a few decades old. But if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you go watch it. It's some good popcorn, doesn't make sense in places, but you don't really care because it's a cool plot and story, science fiction, apocalyptic film, which fits into our series.
Our Thanksgiving motif.
It was directed by Roland Emmerich. It was written by Emmerich and Dean Devlin. They went on to have a pseudo career with things like Stargate and a couple of others, then diverged and went their own ways and haven't been doing a lot in the past 10, 15 years. But Independence Day was a huge blockbuster. Released around July 4th, starred, of course,
Really?
Will Smith, but it has some great scenes in it. It has some special effects that still work and hold up today. There are a couple that are glaring, but the rest of them work for it. Great performance by Bill Pullman all the way through it, and a really strong performance by Jeff Goldblum. Mary McDonnell, who we talked about in House of Usher, and we've seen in a few other things, especially Battlestar Galactica and all that. Randy Quaid before he totally lost his frickin' mind. So it's
Will Smith before he lost his freaking mind.
Yeah. Well, we hope that Will can regain his. I'm not so sure about Randy, but
I categorize Will Smith in the Tom Cruise group. He's not one of my favorites.
I've liked 2 or 3 that he's done, but usually in that comedy science fiction niche that he works, like this one. Men in Black, it works in that. But yeah,
But
I agree with you.
We've had this conversation before, because how could you not look good in Men in Black when you're with Tommy Lee Jones? Anything he does is stellar.
Well, yeah. And isn't that Ivan Reitman too, or one of the good directors? I can't remember the director of that, but he's really strong.
Is it Soderbergh?
for good comedy. No, Men in Black. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't think it's Ivan Reitman.
May have been Soderbergh. Can't remember. But it was a huge blockbuster at the time. It had a really cool alien design, has really cool ship design, definitely influenced by major, I think we've even covered it on the podcast, but influenced by several other science fiction properties, both written and filmed, that influenced it. And it just made me feel happy. It's a good movie to watch every July of every year, just to watch the world be destroyed. It has practical models. At this point in my life and where I am, you get to see the White House blown to smithereens.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that right now.
Yeah, it looks so good. And the Capitol building later on. Yeah, it's all special effects, folks. Just for the special effects.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I did. I watched Independence Day. It was a really good apocalyptic, feel-good science fiction invasion film.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that you have something that ties in and gives you a segue to our main topic, because I definitely do not today. I watched a little movie from 2023 that's been on my list for a while. It's called Starve Acre.
Ooh, poster, but I've never even heard of that title.
Well, I had high hopes for it, having read that it was a great new folk horror movie starring Matt Smith of Doctor Who fame. But this movie is a slog.
Wow.
Yeah, it's written and directed by Daniel Coco Tailo. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. He's done very little that I've ever heard of. However, it's based on a book by Andrew Michael Hurley. Yeah, as I mentioned, the cast is great. It primarily stars Matt Smith and Morfydd Clark, if I'm pronouncing that right. However, she was in another slog of a movie, Saint Maud, which you've heard me trash on here before. Synopsis is it's 1970s Yorkshire, England. An archaeologist, Richard, and his wife, Juliet, relocate to his childhood home, Starve Acre. That's the name of the town. Sounds like a very Lovecraftian town. Seeking solace after their son Owen's sudden death. As grief consumes them, Richard delves into the local folklore and unearths a mysterious hare skeleton, hare as in rabbit, and it begins to reanimate. Juliet, meanwhile, becomes increasingly attached to the creature, believing it embodies their lost child. As supernatural forces awaken, the couple's reality unravels, blurring the line between mourning and madness.
That's a very Clive Barker Lovecraftian story.
That's why I wanted to watch it. But it's very slow. By today's standards, most people would just tune out, I'm quite sure. Rotten Tomatoes thinks a little differently. They gave it 83%. I would knock it down to a 70. The camera work and the cast, as I mentioned, are great. It's the direction, the script that are the problem. So very slow with virtually no payoff. Sorry, folks, Starve Acre, if it's on your list, is not probably your favorite movie.
Well, Monty Python has the best evil bunny in history, so it's hard to top that.
It's got nasty, big, pointy teeth.
Oh, just a harmless bunny rabbit. Okay, so Tim watched Starve Acre, a Lovecraftian...
It's a folk horror.
A folk horror film that he didn't care for very much because it was so slow. And I watched a science fiction apocalyptic epic about how governments react when the earth is threatened by deadly forces, which is kind of what we're doing today as well. We are continuing our apocalyptic Thanksgiving theme. Yay, happy Turkey Day and everything. And we are going to go to 2 years after the one that I mentioned. So we're going back to 1998. And a film that was directed by Michael Bay called Armageddon. Just a brief synopsis for those who haven't seen it. I don't know why. It's decades and decades old. You should have seen it by now. Even if you're an Aerosmith fan, you should have seen it. Even if you're not an Aerosmith fan, you should have seen it. But anyway, basically the story in a nutshell is scientists discover that there is we begin with a meteor shower that takes out most of the iconic structures of New York City. And so it destroys most of the iconic structures, and then nobody talks about it again for the rest of the movie. Meanwhile, scientists find out that this meteor shower is only the precursor, the early debris field of a huge asteroid the size of Texas that is barreling toward the Earth and will impact the Earth, basically creating an extinction level event, even though they don't use that phrase, which they should in this particular movie. I think it became popular.
I thought they did.
After.
They don't.
They never say the term extinction level event. They call it a planet killer, which
That's
is very
right.
very Michael Bay term for extinction level event. But NASA, in all of its mysterious secret base, oh, we have hidden shuttles that no one knows about place, decides that the only way to save the Earth is to be able to break this asteroid into two pieces and let those pieces skirt the Earth on each side and not impact us. And the best way to do that is to hire a bunch of oil rig drillers and send them up in less than 2 weeks to intercept the asteroid and drill down and put a nuclear device in it, blow it apart, and thus save the Earth.
USA, by God.
The oil rig team is, of course, headed by a very intrepid guy named Harry Stamper, played by Bruce Willis, and his ragtag team of oil drillers and various personalities that have to work together with NASA and trained astronauts to try to save the world. I'm sure you have seen this movie before, but what do you remember the first time or?
Oh my God. I've got all kinds of stories about this movie.
All kinds of stories.
I saw it with my good friend Dan Hester back in the 90s in the movie theater, and we were blown away. We were like, this is the best damn movie. And then I got the Criterion DVD when it came out a few years later. And for years, I watched that because it was one of the best looking special effects DVDs I've ever seen on the screen back at the time. It was amazing.
This had a lot more model work than it did CGI. This was very similar to the way Independence Day is done.
Well, maybe that's another reason why it looks so good then.
So it's another reason why the effects still hold up, plus the fact that it's got Michael Bay's audio editing to it. So lots of
the sound is great. And then I haven't watched it again for like 20-something years until we watched it, or I watched it the other night. And I was like, ooh, this movie is a B movie. I was like, when I saw it originally, solid A blockbuster movie. Now, solid B movie with a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And no real logic whatsoever.
No. It does have Bruce, who you adore, and I really like too, and he's good in it. He's very John McClane all the way through it.
Well, he can elevate bad to palatable.
Correct.
Easy.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's also got some other good people in it too. A lot of good people, actually.
I remember having a love-hate relationship with this like you. I classified this from the first time I saw it. I did not see it at the theater, I don't think. I think I ended up seeing this on VHS or DVD or whatever. And ended up saying, okay, this is a check your brain at the door movie. Because if you're going to analyze it, you're not going to be happy because it's not correct. As a matter of fact, side note, in doing research, a little bit of trivia, in doing research for this, I found out this is still, in 2025, this is still used by NASA in their early training of astronauts. And they have to pick out the number of mistakes in it.
I've got some other little things that are along the same lines I'll mention in a minute.
But so it's a check your brain at the door movie. I always thought of that. And watching it again this time, again, that's why I had to go back to Independence Day, which is an apocalyptic Earth encroachment that I think works and is strong all the way through that movie. Whereas this one, up until the launch, it's actually a really fun movie and really works. All the character development of knowing each of these personalities of the oil rigs and the relationship of Stamper. And Billy Bob Thornton is great as the head of NASA. And
he's so believable.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
he is a lot like Willis. He can make something bad be palatable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do give credit to Michael Bay in that he allows Billy Bob to have the moments that he needs to have to have those little moments of quiet where he's like, you could tell he's worried and he's fearful and he's upset or he's angry. Those little asides where he glares over at somebody and Bruce Willis's character like goes, yeah, I'm sorry, that's just the way they are.
You hired a bunch of monkeys to go in outer space, basically.
And great cast of these characters. They are so good in these roles that they've been cast in. Even Liv Tyler, she's decent in it. She's not up to Lord of the Rings yet, but she's good.
I like it. I don't know if it's because she didn't have the chops or that she's just skilled at underplaying it, but she does a real good underplaying of it, I think.
Right. And Owen Wilson in one of his most repressed roles is really good in this and memorable. And his is a death that we really care about later on. So the casting, the pacing of the whole beginning and all that really works for me. But once they launch, they just throw everything out the freaking
It's the green slime. They're in outer space. And there's just no monsters.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of green slime, but that's pretty true.
It's the same plot.
Yeah.
It's like my biggest key.
In doing research on it, which we like to do to find trivia, production notes, and other corollaries so we can use them for the keys, found out that even while they were editing it, people were coming to Michael Bay and saying problems with it and stuff with it. Like, Michael, you got all these, there's no fire in space. This wouldn't happen. You wouldn't have this explosion in space. And he goes, well, and his literal quote, you can look it up, it's in IMDb and online, everything else. His quote is something to the effect of, well, it's set in space and people don't know anything about that anyway. And I was going, okay, way to give it to your audience there, Michael. Come on.
Oh, my God, how funny.
So yeah, it's from my perspective, as the get off my lawn, I'm going to nitpick everything to death perspective, oh my God, this movie falls apart really fast. But
I've got a little bit of background too.
And it's interesting that I'm more invested in the
characters.
No, the NASA. Like, I care more about Billy Bob Thornton in this movie than I do Bruce Willis.
Because he's got an extreme headache going on. Yeah.
Well, and I also care more about Bruce Willis's second guy that I really like. He's always the second guy. I call him the second guy, but he plays the second guy in every movie he's in. Like in the football one, where he's the coach that loses the job to the black guy who is played by
Are you talking about
Denzel
Will
Washington.
Patton?
Yes. And he's always the supporting backup guy that'll help you and be your best friend.
He's a phenomenal character actor.
Amazing.
You've seen him in a million things, and you can't name a single one.
Right.
Yeah.
He's in The Rock, too, right?
Which is another Michael Bay, yeah.
But I care more about him and his story all the way through this movie, even to the end, than I do about the other characters. Mm-hmm. And that's sad that we spend 35, 40 minutes setting up these characters, and yet they're so cartoony and so archetype that we really don't care when they start being bumped off.
Yeah, but that's a very good slasher theme. Let's have a bunch of great guys in here so that we can kill them off one by one.
Yeah, one by one.
I've got a little information on Michael Bay that I did not know. As you mentioned, he directed Bad Boys, which was also Will Smith, The Rock, and Pearl Harbor. However, as a teenager, did you know he worked at ILM?
No, as what?
As a teenager, he worked in the storyboard department for films like Raiders of the Lost Ark. So he worked with Spielberg as a teenager.
I don't think he worked with Spielberg. I think he copied frickin' storyboards. The other guy because I forgot his name.
Lawrence Kasdan?
No, not Sternyenko or somebody. There's a storyboard artist that Spielberg worked with on Jaws and Raiders that was really, really good.
Okay, yeah, I've seen the pictures, especially.
I'm thinking Michael probably just inked in the storyboard.
Maybe he colored them for him. Okay,
yeah, he colored for ILM.
Yeah, he started out as a commercial and video director, which makes perfect sense because it's all visual and sound, which is what this movie is. Back to Spielberg, he turned down Saving Private Ryan to do this movie, which is interesting because I love Private Ryan. That to me is one of Spielberg's best.
They offered Saving Private Ryan to Michael Bay before Spielberg?
Yeah, that's what I've got. And that he went on later to do Pearl Harbor because he didn't get to do his war movie. So he did Pearl Harbor instead.
Well, Saving Private Ryan came out this same year. It came out in 90.
Yeah, it sure did. and it's a far better movie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I've got, as
Inter-
far as the writers, I don't
Screw
really
that.
have a lot, but Jonathan Hensley did Jumanji and Die Hard with a Vengeance. J.J. Abrams, who also worked on the screenplay, we know J.J., I don't have to say anything about him. Tony
Yeah.
Gilroy also worked on it. He did Michael Clayton and Rogue One and Andor, which we've been talking about at the end of last season a lot. And Shane Salerno did Avatar: The Way of Water, which I know you don't give a shit about. And then Robert Roypool did Outbreak, and Jonathan Hensley did Story. But my point is there's so many writers on this fucking film. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There were 9 altogether.
I'm not surprised.
And the reason was that Michael Bay and Jerry Bruckheimer produced, Michael Bay directed, and they were so conscious of the fact that Deep Impact was coming out the same year, and it basically was the same story of we have to drill a hole on an asteroid. Yada,
Remember
yada.
when that used to happen all the time? When like two movies of the same theme would come out and they would race to see who could finish first?
Yes. Well, actually, I found out in research that the reason for it is, and I can't remember if I think it was Gilroy, was pitching the idea to whoever did Deep Impact. So 20th Century, probably, if this is Paramount, or this was Touchstone. So
It was Disney. This was a Disney movie.
yeah, this was Touchstone Disney. And so whoever he was pitching it to, when they were giving him notes and feedback, he kept all of that information and rewrote it for Armageddon and pitched it to Touchstone. So they took all the Deep Impact stuff and changed it into Armageddon.
So he made he profited off both films.
Yes. And they were both very conscious, not only of Deep Impact, but of anything else. So much so that, and it'll lead to keys too when we get to it, but they would go to the writers and say, we need a scene like this.
I know.
Because they just saw something or they just heard something in the media and whatever. And entire subplots and concepts in the show were rewritten because of what was populist at the time.
I read that there were constant rewrites on
Yes.
set and that Bruce basically just stopped even looking at the script until they brought him the rewrites.
Yeah. And then he actually has stated after this that he would never work with Michael Bay again. And I don't think he ever did.
No, I don't think he did either.
I also saw that it said one of the producers was Gail Ann Hurd.
I
And
think I
didn't know
read that too. in my
I
notes.
meant to do some research into that, but I didn't know that at all.
That's a good 12 years before The Walking Dead. But yeah.
A lot went into the production of it. It has really strong special effects. It has a huge relationship with NASA and a huge relationship with the Air Force. And they allowed them access that they had never allowed filmmakers before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
from a trivia and production standpoint, they got to actually
Bruce
shoot.
and Ben Affleck got to go in the anti-gravity pool or whatever. I read that. Yeah.
They actually shot on the site of Apollo 1, which they had never allowed before. They kind of skirted in the movie a little bit, and they just show one plaque to give it. But they also were allowed onto the actual space shuttle gantry. They couldn't get in the shuttle or on the shuttle, but they actually filmed on the gantry up in the air at the actual space shuttle. So they had great stuff. But then again, it's Michael Bay and Bruckheimer, and they cheated too. So like the entire scene with the gun on the ship, they hid from the Air Force and didn't let them know that they were shooting that at all. And were really nervous when they did the first screening that they would have to cut it because they knew the Air Force would, if you put in the script, there's a gun on the ship, everybody would go, well, that's ridiculous. There's no reason to have that. The same reason that why would you put a chain gun on a frickin' rover? Makes no frickin' sense other than you want to shoot through the wall to get your rover to crash through it. No, doesn't. No.
They should have had
So-
some monsters. There should have been some monsters on that asteroid. That would have been awesome.
Oh my God, no.
Just a little
Godzilla.
side plot.
Godzilla monster, yeah.
No, green slime monsters. And the one-eyed
But, you know-
octopus tentacle things.
Well, and green slime monsters, yeah. Well, and from the very beginning, almost the first scene that's set in New York, they're poking fun at Godzilla because it was coming out this year too. And they wanted to say, we're going to eat your show alive. So they literally wrote a scene where a dog attacks little bitty Godzillas before it is miraculously saved following a direct assault from a meteor.
You can't kill a dog. No.
Yeah, can't kill a dog, especially not in the first like 5 minutes of the movie.
No. And screw Matthew Broderick. He doesn't need the money.
No.
Do you have any scenes you want to talk about besides the inaccuracies, which it is pretty much every scene?
I think the prologue sets it up really well. To get Charlton Heston to do that prologue was really cool and a neat idea. I think that works really well. But yeah, the whole thing about the extinction event happened and all that was strong. It was a good way to do it. I can't really say scenes because almost every scene has something wrong with it, but the performances in it might be great. Like, I love when he's in the Billy Bob Thornton character. I can't remember it right now, the head of NASA, but he's trying to explain to them the mission.
And Truman.
Truman. He's got the two little models of the space shuttle when he's moving around the Earth and showing what they're going to do and all this. And they're making all these quips and it's funny dialogue and good character work and it really works. But then he goes, and here you'll refuel with O2. No, you don't refuel with O2. That's oxygen. That's not fuel. You can't refuel with oxygen. It's an oxidizer, but you can't. And so that blew the whole scene to me. So, what else? I love the character of the cosmonaut, but they just buffoon him out from the very beginning.
Ivan, isn't that his name?
No, Lev.
Lev
and
that's
Drop
right.
Off.
It is Lev. Yeah.
But his lines are good. Don't touch anything.
That's right. That's a line from Aliens, actually. That's what's his face says. Whatever you do, don't touch anything.
Let's go back and forth. What scenes? Maybe your scenes will inspire my scenes.
The whole death scene with Liv Tyler and Bruce Willis is pretty spot on. Great.
I would have liked it more had we not had the say goodbye to Gracie, take care of my little girl. I'm going to say 9 things to you before we're on a countdown here, Bruce. We're on a countdown, dude, and you're talking to your stepson or whatever, your future son or whatever. I would have trimmed that scene a little bit to give it more power to Gracie scene.
It falls along the lines of him saying, these guys need a break before we go tomorrow. Let them do what they want to do. And they let Bruce do what he wants to do as far as his daughter. I like that scene. Again, the scenes you mentioned with Billy Bob Thornton are great. Your turn?
Trying to remember. I like the intent of the last scene when they've all returned and watching Independence Day. They finally bring down the ships and Goldblum and Smith are not dead, but you don't know how they're going to do the very ending. And they do the very ending with, oh, we've got a crash and they're survivors, and they go rushing out and their spouses hug them and the president is there shaking their hand. They're smoking their cigars. And it's on white sands. It's on the White Plains area. So it feels like they're on a runway and it's welcome back to Earth, little denouement summation. And they do that here too, although none of it makes any freaking sense. Like, we're going to let a stripper onto a national runway of the space shuttle, and that lady just, what does she say? Hey, that guy, that's my ex-husband. So can me and my son come and say hello to him when he comes back? It's like, you have no, you're not going to wait in the waiting area and we'll send you. Plus the fact that they just came back from space, they would spend at least 2-3 days in decon and everything else. You're not going to just let them hug everybody in Rome. Going, no.
I also love the intro scene before it gets into Hatfield's and McCoy's territory with Bruce chasing Ben Affleck around that oil rig with the gun. But the scene where Liv Tyler is under those sheets, that whole scene, just the chemistry between them is great.
Okay, yes. I agree with you totally. That's a great scene.
But then it goes off into crazy, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah. How long have we worked together, Bubba? You never said you're sorry that quick. Or you never agreed with me that quick. Yeah.
Which is a very Bruce Willis thing to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. let's see. I'm trying to look back and see if there were.
The special effects scenes, like the one with the Twin Towers, is gut wrenching.
Oh gosh, now yes,
Big time, where asteroids just go right through it, and you're like, oh yeah, they were still up then because it was 98.
and again, like I said, I like that scene, but I always have. There's always something wrong with it. Like I said, we get this huge meteor strike, and they just happen to hit all of the major structures in New York.
Well, that's because
we're going
it
to
hit
show the
most of
Twin
New York.
Towers.
Yeah.
We're going to show the
Statue of Liberty.
They don't show the
Chrysler.
statue. They show the Empire State Building falls apart, Grand Central Station, Broadway, and then later on, we literally destroy Paris. Paris is gone.
And Shanghai
Two-thirds.
too.
Shanghai too.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty impressive effects that worked.
Yeah, that's an apocalyptic movie, and I told you I like apocalyptic movies. I don't like dystopian movies. I like apocalyptic movies. And when you're showing everything get blown up and the world being destroyed, I'm in. All the way back to War of the Worlds in the 50s. Anyway, if you want to move on from scenes, I can go to cast. Obviously,
Sure.
There's a lot of them. I don't have to say a lot about them, though, because we know most of them really well. I will say that
Right.
Michael Hutchence, the lead singer for the band In Excess, was considered for an undetermined role in this movie before his death on November 22nd, 1997, at the age of 37. So I'm not sure who, but I guess he was looking to do a movie career maybe before he died
Maybe.
unexpectedly. Didn't he die of like autoerotic asphyxiation or something? I think he
Who?
did. Michael Hutchence.
Yes.
I think he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He did, in a hotel room.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, Bruce Willis is the biggie here, playing Harry Stamper, which I think is a hilarious name. Stamper. It almost sounds cartoonish. Another person was considered for the role of Harry Stamper. Very obvious choice, if you'd like to guess.
I do not have a guess.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was considered.
Yeah, makes sense.
This
Actually,
was
Stallone would work better.
This was the second consecutive film directed by Bay that Schwarzenegger turned down after The Rock. So he was offered The Rock too, which is ironic because I'm pretty sure that Sean Connery was considered for the Stamper role too.
Yes, he
He would
was.
have been too old though. Another person that was considered that's a lot more unlikely to me was Patrick Swayze. I would have thought he would have been a little too youthful probably to do it.
You would want him maybe as Chick or maybe even as the boyfriend character.
He was at a weird age at that to do either of those. Bruce Willis came to the film after he decided a comedy he was filming called Broadway Brawler, another Disney film, could not be salvaged. Have you heard of
Yeah.
this?
I heard it was horrible. They couldn't even release the movie. It was so bad.
No. He sought a way to exit the project, so Disney's head, Joe Roth, worked out a deal where he would star in Armageddon and 2 future films for the studio to absorb the failed project's cost against his initial salary. You know what those 2 films were that he did after this?
No, I do not.
The Sixth Sense
Oh, yeah.
and
Good one.
Unbreakable, both Shyamalan movies and both decent movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Sixth Sense is great. It's a great movie.
So I'd say Armageddon, The Sixth Sense, and Unbreakable was a good trade out for a bad film that might destroy your career.
Yeah.
But he, as you mentioned, did not care for Michael Bay's directing style and refused to work with him ever again. So that's what we got for Bruce.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Billy Bob Thornton as Dan Truman. Several people were considered for this role, including Tim Robbins, Tom Hanks, Robert De Niro, and Michael Keaton. I could see,
adequate.
yeah, almost any of those guys could have done it. However, he
But
got
what
the
Billy
role.
Bob brings to it, like, it's like one of my third notes in this is, you're not at NASA headquarters until somebody speaks with a Texas accent. Because you hear this, okay, boy, Houston, this is Houston, we need you to do this up here, boys. And Billy Bob can bring that.
Yeah,
That new series he's in, Landman or whatever, he's doing the same thing.
yeah.
That really powerful, I don't want to say an everyman or a working man, but yes, he brings this authenticity to it that's a very, this is how I am character. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh, no. He's a great actor. He's a weird
Yeah.
person, but he's a great actor. I also have that he turned down a role in Saving Private Ryan to do this movie. There's a lot of crossover here. Remember how there was crossover with Carrie and Star Wars? Well, there's a lot of crossover with Private Ryan and Armageddon in this movie.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. As who's up next? It's Ben Affleck, who played Frost.
AJ.
Is his name, AJ. Originally, Bradley Cooper auditioned for the role.
Oh, nice.
So, and that was about the time he was starting to come on the scene. But Ben Affleck, I found this extremely funny, asked Michael Bay, wouldn't it be easier for NASA to train astronauts how to drill rather than training drillers how to be astronauts? And Bay told Affleck to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yep. That's a huge thing when you research this movie, that because he said it at like Comic-Con or somewhere. He said it in a big publication that's what Michael Bay had told him. And it made up for some of the gaps in logic and intelligence in the script and everything else.
Well, I will say that he didn't hold too much of a grudge, because Michael Bay basically paid for Ben Affleck's teeth for this movie. Have you heard this story?
Yeah, yeah.
He noticed in early production.
He said they looked like baby teeth or something.
He said that Ben Affleck had baby teeth in the close-ups, and it was driving him crazy. So he had basically $20,000 worth of dental work done on Ben Affleck, and that's where that smile comes from.
Well, I'm sure Jennifer Lopez is happy.
Liv Tyler plays Harry's daughter. A couple of women turned this down, one of them being Mila Jovovich. I never can say that name. Jovovich.
Yeah.
Who we are used to running around with Bruce Willis and very scantily clad. But another girl that turned it down that I think would have been probably the strongest of all was Robin Wright.
Oh, love her.
Yeah, she's fantastic. But another two were considered that I don't think would have been as strong, and that is Denise Richards and Christina Applegate. I think they went with Liv. I think Liv's a great choice. I really do. Out of all of those, I think she's a great choice.
And if this had been done a few years later, I'm sure he would have put, what's her name in it from Transformers? The girl I hate. What's her name?
Oh, yeah, I know
really
who you're talking. The one that's like really hard to work with. Who?
The model that's really bad. Yeah.
I can't think of her name either. I know who you're talking about, though.
Not Olivia Wilde. She's the other one. But anyway, I have also in my notes that, and this I find interesting because I talked about how things would be happening in the mise en scène or the world, and they would suddenly come to the writers or just bring a writer in and say, I need you to write scenes that do this or whatever. And one of those was the love scene, the romance in this. That was never the original script. Megan Fox, that's right. Yeah. You're right. But the romance was never in the script.
Yeah, they added all that. I read that.
And I was going, okay, so that had to have been added then way early, because that entire oil rig scene, the whole purpose of that scene is you're sleeping with my daughter.
Agreed.
So
yeah.
The one I have in my notes that I complain about is, okay, so I get to hold my girlfriend and serenade her because I'm going up here. None of these other guys have wives or girlfriends. They don't get a song. What? Only
well, they're at strip bars and things like of that sort.
No, this is when they're actually they're in their jumpsuits getting ready to go to the shuttle. And she gets, obviously she has an all access pass. That must have been on those pages that they asked for. Oh, that's a scene I did like a lot. Their demands were funny.
And that was improv by Bruce. They all really wrote stuff down, and he really read like what they wrote down or something.
I read that. I read that Michael Bay let them write whatever they wanted, and he just handed it to Willis and said, read these.
And that just speaks to Willis's talent, that he can just do that so quick. Back to Grace, though. Liv actually turned the role down twice before accepting it. So I'm curious as to why she did that. I don't know. Oh, maybe she came on board once Steven Tyler came on board to do the song. I don't know. But back to your rewrite story about adding the romance. Maybe they added the romance during the script gestation period and apart from all the rewrites that were on set. Does that make sense?
Correct.
Yeah, that
Or
would make more
maybe
sense if
they
they added
didn't
it.
really have, maybe her character didn't really go to NASA with him. So they just had the first scene, and then when they separated, she would have to stay on the oil rig. Maybe they did that, so we have this romance developing.
Well, I tell you what, without the romance and without that Aerosmith song, this movie would not be what people thought it was. Because that
I did
Aerosmith
not.
song
Oh,
makes the movie.
it's key in trivia. I did not know this. That is not an original Aerosmith song. Did you know that?
No, it's Diane Warren.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
that
yeah.
at all. I remember the video has the scene where she touches the screen and all the screens are
And
static.
instead of Bruce Willis, it's really Steven Tyler.
It's Steve Tyler, yeah. So, okay, that's your dad. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
But she is saying goodbye to her dad in the movie, which is a little Shakespearean when you think about it, because her dad is dying to save her boyfriend, basically.
Yes. The tragedy of it would work. I think it's just about 10% overplayed.
It
my
is.
opinion.
And we can sum it up later, but it's just one of those popcorn movies that I enjoy. However, rewatching it, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
it's been a while since I saw this.
You could
Go
probably
ahead.
do that if you watch up until the ISS explodes and then just fast forward to the last part with the bomb.
Skip all the rover vehicle on the
Oh,
asteroid.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, skip all of that.
I
For
have,
some reason, space dementia. What the hell is that? I don't know. It's never been mentioned before, but yeah, sure, he's got it.
oh, it makes sense. Yeah. Will Patton, I have absolutely nothing because, like I said, he is a face you will recognize in a million movies and not be able to name a single one. He
Brilliant,
plays
though.
Chick.
Great actor.
Steve Buscemi is in this. I think I've told you I was once in an elevator with him. When asked why Steve did this film, he replied, I wanted a bigger house.
Yeah, they wasted no expense in this movie.
No.
I have trivia on him saying he did really like the initial read, and because he was the smart one, he was the one that was flipping off the government essentially and all this kind of stuff. But then all of his vices were added after they started production. So all
Yeah.
of the strippers and get a loan and all of that stuff that was added.
Hey, Michael, wouldn't this be funny?
Yeah.
That's great. William Fichtner played Colonel Sharp, Willie Sharp. Owen Wilson, as you mentioned, plays Oscar. It was early on in his career because he had very few lines in this movie. Michael Clark Duncan played Bear. This was his first starring role, or major role, I guess you'd say. He had been very happy when he was selected to play Bear after a successful audition, but soon started to feel insecure, and his performance suffered. In an effort to rectify this, Bay and Willis took him aside and personally told him that the enthusiastic personality that he had displayed in his audition needed to be there. Otherwise, they were going to have to look for a replacement, and he improved remarkably after that. So he got scolded by Bay and Willis, and it worked.
I've always liked everything he's in. He's a good actor. He's a strong. I'm sad he's gone. He was good.
Well, and from what I understand, Willis is the entire reason why Michael went on to do The Green Mile, because Frank Darabont was looking for a gigantic African-American actor, and Bruce Willis recommended him. I'm pretty sure I know that from back in the day.
Well, and to me, he's that separated at birth with Ving Rhames. Although he's much more impressive, I just thought he's been. I've liked everything he's done.
Well, and Ving is still alive. Michael died
Yes, correct.
tragically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Stormare played Lev Andropov, another character
Russians.
actor I've seen in things.
Oh yeah.
And Ken Hudson Campbell played Max. Jessica Stein. Oh, Keith David is in this movie. This is where we get to the part of the cast where it's like, oh my God, I know who that is. Keith David was one of them. He played General Kimsey, so he had a pretty big role.
Yep.
Chris Ellis
By
played
the way,
flight director.
I think I mentioned it to you off mic a few weeks ago or whatever else. This television series, this animated series called Has Been Hotel, Basically, all these Broadway stars got together and they wrote their own story. They got an animation studio. They're doing it. Now they've got a green light for like 4 seasons or whatever.
Awesome.
He's in it and he sings and he's great. He's a great character in it. It's
Oh,
really
cool.
Yeah.
Jason Isaacs is in this movie. He plays Quincy. And I don't know who Grace McCouch is. He played Gruber. But then I was like thinking, this movie has Grace Zabriskie in it from Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks?
This
Yeah.
movie has Udo Kier in it from Andy Warhol movies. And there's
Yep.
just a bunch of small parts for actors with familiar faces in this movie.
Yeah, and you'll see there's 3 principals in the NASA cotillion group, the think tank of NASA, that all had almost the exact same roles in Apollo 13. The guy who stands up at the briefing goes, what we do is we distribute this, and he pops open the little thing, and then the solar panels come out, and Billy Bob Thornton's character shoots him down. That's the same guy that developed the air filters in Apollo 13.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Yeah, and there's like 2 or 3 of them that have the exact same NASA roles. I'm sure they wore the same costumes.
Okay. Well, getting back to what I said about this being an A-list multi-million-dollar blockbuster, it was nominated for 4 Academy Awards. Sound editing, visual effects, and the song, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Diane Warren. It did not win.
I bet it lost sound to Saving Private Ryan.
I'm pretty sure Saving Private Ryan probably knocked it out of everything. I don't know what won Best Song, but the Saturn Awards gave it a win for Best Sci-Fi Film and Director, and also nominated it for Actor, Supporting Actor, Music, Costumes, and Effects. Won an ASCAP for Song, so she won something there. And Blockbuster, who you have ties with, gave it a win for Actor and Supporting Actor, which would be Willis and Affleck, I'm pretty sure. And scads more wins and nominations across the circuit.
Yeah,
However, this film is included on film critic Roger Ebert's most hated list. He said that it was the worst movie of '98, that it is an assault on the eyes, the ears, the brain, the common sense, and the human desire to be entertained.
his quote is scathing.
And then Neil deGrasse Tyson said on an episode of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert that until the release of the 2022 film Moonfall, Armageddon was the movie which violated more laws of physics per minute than any other movie ever made.
Makes sense.
And it is not on the 1001 movies you must see before you die list.
It did become the highest grossing film of '98.
I'm not surprised at all.
It grossed $500 million against a $140 million budget.
Well, you remember when DVD players came out? When DVD players came out, you were trying to find the best thing you could buy to watch on DVD. And that's why I have a Criterion version of Armageddon. I was like, I need that.
I think all the science fiction guys went to Armageddon. All the other guys went to Top Gun. That's the one you want to watch on your new sound system. It's so big and all that. But yeah, I've got that quote by deGrasse Tyson too, just because it's very obvious.
I don't even know anything about this other movie, Moonfall. The one he said that surpassed it.
It's on my list.
It's got Patrick, what's his face in it that we've been talking about a lot lately, Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, but these guys didn't understand weightlessness. They didn't understand physics. They didn't understand thrust, propulsion, anything. And it's like I said, when they were setting up these characters and what they're doing and everything else, all that worked. Once they got into the science of it, they suck really bad. I alone have the launch itself. You would never launch 2 shuttles that close together. There's a reason that they're literally almost a mile apart in Florida. You would never launch 2 shuttles right beside each other unless it just looks cool for your movie. You would never launch them at the same time or even near the same time, just because of debris and fallout and the heat from the explosion itself. So they'd never take off within seconds. They would never fly together. They would never eject both of their booster rockets right beside each other, just for the off chance that one of them might hit the other. Plus the fact that they are not designed to fly like fighters. This is not Star Wars. They are massive ships that take a long time to get where they need to go, and you can't just zoom in on the asteroid and crash and take off.
And
So
don't
much
land
work.
on the side that's got an iron plate that you have to drill through.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. No, let's don't do that. And we suddenly show all of these jagged, and they say it's razor sharp spikes, except for where you land your ship or where you need to drill. Suddenly there's a flat plane there that we're using to get all this over. All of the stuff with everything that involves AJ on the asteroid up until he drills the last thing for Harry, and Harry trusts him and says, okay, go with your gut or use your best shot, blah, blah, blah. Everything before that, from the crash on, sucks. It makes no sense at all. I have pages
There's a
and
rover.
pages. Yeah, it just happens to be way up on the mountain. And have you ever seen Evel Knievel? And, oh, we put a Gatling gun on this frickin' rover so it could blow through the side of the shuttle, even though this is the same shuttle that survived the space station, the debris fields, it just makes no sense. There's so much just wrong.
Yeah, I only have one little bit of trivia before we move on to keys, and that is something very along the lines of what you're saying, is that NASA shows this film during their training program, and they are given the task of trying to spot as many errors as possible, and the highest number so far is 168. Or at least when this was reported on IMDb. So it could be more now, but I think that's funny. 168.
And I think that's being nice, probably. If you go to the website, Everything Wrong With, the guy that clicks through all the problems with the movie, I think this one's almost over 200 that he finds just in his stuff. But his is not just all science related. It's like when Bear is trying to escape the FBI and he's on the motorcycle and they're chasing him with cars and helicopters and everything. There's a blockade ahead of him, and the way the cars are leaves enough room for the motorcycle in between. And this guy says on Everything Wrong, he goes, so if you were going to stop a motorcycle, is this the way you would set up your barricade? I was going, no, you would not. But just stuff like that. That's in my notes too, of just another bug me. So they send the FBI and all this huge military installations to get everybody else except AJ. And Harry has to go get AJ himself. And that makes no sense, and eating time up and everything else. Plus the fact that he fired AJ when he was leaving the rig. He said, get him his paperwork and get him off my rig or whatever. So Chick fires AJ, and like by the time they fly to Houston, which Harry says is 18 hours, it's an 18-hour trip to get there. Anyway, get to Houston, do the debrief. Here's what I want. Go get my guys. Okay, I'm going to go get AJ. AJ has bought an oil rig and is already working on it himself. I went, okay, sure. There's a lot wrong with this movie.
It's beyond a popcorn movie. It's a
kinda-
visual assault on your senses.
No, what does he say on something on entertainment? On the human desire. Keys? There's
Yeah, a lot we've mentioned. The first one I thought of was the one that you mentioned, Deep Impact, which came out virtually the same time. I can't even remember who was in that. Was it like Tia Leone?
Came out like 2 months before this. It was Tia Leone. Yeah.
Oh, it was Tia Leone. I was just guessing.
As I've got in my quotes that Bruckheimer made this big deal about Deep Impact doesn't scare us at all because Tia Leone has none of the star power of Bruce Willis. So he wasn't worried about that.
But it
Although he
also
was,
had
they kept changing.
Vanessa Redgrave and Morgan Freeman and Robert Duvall. Damn.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot. But I couldn't tell you anybody.
And yet, do you remember it? No.
No, not at all.
Yeah. See,
Yeah. I don't even know if I've ever seen it.
I've got the one I just mentioned, Independence Day, because I think this was heavily influenced
Because
by
it's an extinction event, David.
Well, it's also just the pace and level of it. We start out showing all of these characters in all these various places. We slowly bring them together, and then they all have to focus together to do the big mission. And the mission is to sacrifice ourselves to save Earth.
Yeah.
But yet we live at the end, or most of us do.
I've got Titanic because
Oh,
of
yeah.
the love story. Special effects extravaganza cemented together with a love story, basically.
And Michael Bay said specifically he hired writers to write the love scenes, the romance into this because of Titanic.
Okay.
Same thing with Godzilla. Godzilla came out this same year too. And like I said, it was an influence on it because we have to have this Godzilla scene at the beginning. That makes no sense, but we're going to do it anyway. I've got the Dirty Dozen because this movie at the beginning was very reminiscent of Dirty Dozen. They each have their own, we hate society, we hate what everything's going on, but we'll all band together because we know what we do and we do what
well,
we're
also
the
they're a
best at.
team of misfits that each has
Yes.
like something they're good at or whatever. Yeah.
Rockhound and Chick and all of them. Yeah.
You mentioned The Right Stuff. There are literally scenes in this movie that are stolen from The Right Stuff, like the silhouettes of them marching or the oncoming of them marching.
The Colonel at one point even says, talk about the wrong stuff after that shot. So it's like they are meta in the movie saying
Yeah.
that. Yes. I've got Crimson Tide because of the whole sequence that we suddenly have to have suspense in, and we add this whole, we're going to remotely blow up the nuclear device, and we've got the codes, and we're breaking open the stuff with the red cards with the key codes on them and everything. It was very Crimson Tide, and God, did they throw in so much in like a little 10-minute section of suspense. And I would love that too. I have it in my notes and I didn't do it, and I wish somebody would. If you're out there listening or watching this, tell me. I would love to know how many countdowns are in this movie, because there's a bunch.
I don't know.
We're counting down the fuel. We're counting down the launch. We're counting down the bomb. We're counting down
The asteroid hitting Earth.
The asteroid hitting Earth, hitting the zone, all these things. So many countdowns.
I have When Worlds Collide. I don't know why, because I've never seen that movie. I'm guessing I got it off IMDb.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's a great one.
Okay.
Although their whole point is we just need to escape, not we need to change the trajectory of the asteroid. There is no way they can avoid the asteroid. And so they're making a life ship for Earth to get at least some of humanity off the planet. That's a good movie. We should do that movie. It's been on our list. Yeah. I have everything else by Michael Bay, because obviously he learned in this movie editing tricks that he uses in the space station explosion and the big, huge fight for the drill bits on the asteroid. And there's such fast editing and weird shots that we don't know what's going on.
I honestly, a lot of it looked stupid to me, because I was like, you know what? He's just throwing shit together because it's an explosion and it doesn't even matter what it is. Yeah.
And we can't tell who's hitting who, who's fighting who, where everybody is.
It's happening way too fast. Yeah.
And he uses that in all the Transformers movies. That whole fast editing crap that you can't tell who's, is that Optimus Prime getting hit or not, or whatever. I can't tell. So I think that was a huge influence on how easily he could do that. And also cost cutting, because they've said, even though they have the resources of NASA and the resources of the Air Force, he didn't really use them. He literally told the actors, act weightless. Rather than do any rig or have any cool shot that has to deal and show some simulated weightlessness, he just said, do this. And Ben Affleck's even in interviews talked about how weird it was to try to float around fake.
I have 1979's Meteor.
Forgotten about that one. Yeah.
And one of the reasons I have it is the cast is huge in it as well. It had Sean Connery, Natalie Wood, Carl Malden, Brian Keith, Martin Landau, Henry Fonda. That's a huge cast for another meteor extinction event movie.
And yeah, you just inspired me, because there was another thing where one year, two of the Let's Drill to the Center of the Earth movies came out, like The Core, and then
At the Earth's Core was one
Journey
of them.
to the Center of the Earth,
And Journey to the Center of the Earth. They were both like Jules Verne movies. Yeah, they were like when Land That Time Forgot came out. They were all around that.
Right, and then you had those too, where there's an island with a secret prehistoric part of it or whatever. Movies, yeah.
I don't know that those fit though, do they?
No, they don't fit for this. You just reminded me of it.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about apocalyptic movies.
Right.
And we were talking about dual movies that came out the same year.
Yeah.
I've got Alien because if you look at the space suit design, not the helmet so much, but the space suit design, very Mobius and Alien. The way the
You're right.
little
I didn't even think about
ribbed
that, but you're right.
patches run, because we're so used to ribs running perpendicular to our appendages, and Mobius did them all like patterned around like a quilt. So yeah, so
I've
I've got
got
Alien.
that this is not only, you mentioned that Gail Ann Hurd was a producer on it, but it's not the only movie about oil workers that she produced. She also produced The Abyss, which is her husband at the time's movie, James Cameron.
Much better movie.
Or her ex-husband, maybe. I don't remember where they were in their marriage at that time.
Yeah, I don't either. I think we covered it.
When we did it a long time ago, yeah. I have that the global killer speech given by Billy Bob Thornton's character is featured in a song by Swedish death metal band Cypher System called
Really?
Central Tunnel 8. That's a weird name for a song. Central Tunnel 8.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got Doctor Strangelove, of course, because Rockhound really does sit on the nuclear device, even so much so that the colonel says, please get off the nuclear device. And he
That's
goes,
so
I was just
stupid.
making fun of that movie.
Yeah.
So obviously a reference.
He also uses the line "Beam me up, Scotty," which is Star
He
Trek.
does.
Yeah.
Yep, he does.
And then the one that I had that I mentioned earlier that to me is wild is the green slime, because according to IMDb, it's strikingly similar in the first half to the same plot as the green slime. Yeah, there's a meteor going to Earth. So
Yeah, when you mentioned that, I went, oh my God, I didn't think of that at all, but that's so true. Yeah.
yeah, and back to my whole theory of I used to think this was an A movie. It is now a glorified B movie. So is Green Slime. And that's why I enjoy Green Slime. And that's why I enjoy this. It's because they are both so stupid and crazy. One just spent millions more dollars than the other.
Yes, millions and millions.
Yes. So, but that's all the keys I have.
Yep, mine too. My last little thing about the inaccuracies in the movie are it's not always just pseudo or space science, so to speak. One of the things that I had was they keep showing all these montages of the world responding or the world watching. They do it for the launch, and they show people in Dubai and people in Japan and all these iconic cities all over the world. And they do it again when everybody's essentially given up before they reestablish communication, and everybody's, well, there's nothing we can do now because the asteroid's going to hit us. Every scene they ever show in a different country is supposed to be simultaneously like a montage, because we're hearing the announcers talk in between them, and yet they're all in daylight. So it's like there's no time constriction here. I'm sorry, it would be midnight in Australia if you're showing this.
We did a movie not long ago where the director had no sense of time. I can't remember what it was. That's funny.
Really? Okay.
He actually even said he didn't care, and I can't remember what movie it was.
Yeah. My closing thing would be the same thing I said from the beginning, which is it is a check your brain at the door movie. So if you want to go see some vintage Bruce Willis post Die Hard doing some great characters, some great character actors doing good parts.
And a
just-
somewhat decent wig.
Yeah. And
At
just
times it doesn't look good, but he does look good with blonde hair.
And just ignore the science of it. Just ignore the factuality of it and just keep going. Then yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll do it for our Thanksgiving show today. David, we've had an apocalyptic Thanksgiving here for 2 weeks. We've been in sci-fi
Things
world.
blowing up everywhere.
I think we're going to take some time off to recuperate from the, what do you call them? After an earthquake.
The earthquakes, the aftershocks.
The aftershocks. Yeah, we're going to recuperate for the rest of November, enjoy some turkey. We're going to be back on December 1st with another themed holiday exploration into some supernatural, spooky stuff. And we hope that you enjoyed what you heard today. If you do, please give us a like or a thumbs up or whatever platform you're watching us on and help us out. If you want to see more, we have other little short shows on YouTube as well as some subscription and free stuff over on Patreon. We'd love for you to join us over there. Those contributions over there help us supplement our cost in producing the show. And there's television stuff over there. We do X-Files and Star Trek over there. So if you're looking for a little bit more sci-fi and horror, we have it for you. And I guess that's everything until we get back to Christmas.
It's almost Christmas. I guess I need to start shopping. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
See you next month.
I will see you then. Bye.
Bye.
You can't start the car. Johnny has the key.